feel like so many times out there, if you look across the Uber and Lyft rideshare videos in general as a whole, you'll see a lot of videos where drivers have all of these different complaints about Uber. They're not getting paid enough. Driver support sucks and everything. And you know, don't get me wrong. There are times where we get this other perspective of negative things when it comes to, you know, being a rideshare driver, driving on Uber, driving on Lyft. This video is actually going to be dedicated to all of the passengers out there. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to seem like a complainer or anything like that, because there is one disclaimer I want to put out there, because I don't want to discourage anyone. I don't want to make you feel like any of the negative things that I'm going to point out to you guys are any way a discouragement from taking part in the rideshare industry. It's just something that's important to point out, because this is something you're going to experience, and it's way better if I make a video for you guys and talk about these things. You know, that way you kind of have an idea of what you're going to experience. Because over the years, the 5 years plus that I've been in the rideshare industry, interacting with so many different people, I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I hate to judge people. I hate to put people in categories or anything like that. But it's something that I've noticed with people. And I'm not going to say that all people in these groups are like this or whatever the case may be, but it is a nice chunk of people out there, and it's repeated things. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that it's different strokes for different folks. Everyone is not the same. Things that I find an issue, things that I as a driver have a problem with, you might think it's perfectly normal, or whatever the case may be. Different strokes for different folks. Now, I'm a part-time driver. I'm not a full-time driver. I do not rely on rideshare for my life. I'll put it to you that way. So, and the reason why I say this is because when you're in a position where you think about it like that, you'll take less BS. It's nothing for you to tell someone, you could get out right here. You pull over to the side, this is your stop, have a good day. I know that there are some drivers out there that they'll take BS all day from a customer, all day, and they will suck it up and eat it just due to the fact that they're out on the road 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and if Uber or Lyft comes along and deactivates them, they would be... I've had Lyft support contact me regarding driving off on passengers when they're walking to the car. I have told, and again, if you're someone that relies on this, you might not want to take what I'm about to say and actually do it. I have told Lyft support, I'm trying to figure the best way to say this without being too, because this is going to be an entertaining video. I'm a very sarcastic, you know, kind of guy. But I want to, because I know what I want to say. But I've basically told Lyft support to eat and go somewhere and shove it. Because I want to show you guys something. Hold on. This is going to be important. I should have had this pulled up already. Let me go on the Lyft platform, and then I'm going to go on the Uber platform. Because I know people out there watching the video, you're going to say, oh, you must have a horrible rating. You're a horrible driver, and this, that, and the other. You guys can see it. We have just about 4,900 rides on 4.8 on the Lyft platform. 4.8. Now, We're going to pull up Uber. There you guys go. 4.98. About 2,800 trips. You guys can actually see it right there. So I am not a driver that gets on the road and I have a horrible rating. For the most part, like I am 4.9 all day. All day. 5 stars. But 4.9 all day. Occasionally I'll get down to a 4.8 because you cannot please everybody. And that's cool. It just is what it is. Now, I'm going to point out and speak on a couple of things for you guys that I've experienced that I do not like. Number one, when it comes to your car, right? When you're in rideshare and you're thinking about buying a vehicle, it's going to be my honest opinion, my advice. Get a leather seated vehicle. Do not get the stuff like this. You guys can see the seats. I cannot tell you how many times I have to clean these seats due to the fact that they're two different things. Like, you have some people where it's just like, why can't you just get in the car, sit down, and be still? Because at times I'll look at the back seats and it's like someone's jeans might have been faded. Oh, one time I had a guy with a leather jacket, and it was an old leather jacket, and it was like peeling. When he got out of the car, like the coat had like fully, and I'm like, and he's like, oh, sorry, and he's dusting it off. But it's like, dude. Next to the seat issue, we have the car seat issue, which I've made videos about that previously, where just yesterday alone, and I was actually only out on the road yesterday for about 4 hours. Just yesterday alone, I pulled off on 2 ladies that had infants, not even 3 years old, probably 1, 2 years old, whatever. And they do not have a car seat. They come holding the baby. I've made videos about this before. I know sometimes, you guys might feel sorry for them and you take the trip. Listen, under no circumstance am I going to drive you 4 minutes away or whatever, because I do not want to take the risk that your child is going to get injured inside of my car. I do not want to take the risk of getting a ticket with your child inside of my car. Those are the obvious issues that I spoke about in previous videos. Now, to get into some new stuff, and I'm not sure if you guys say the passenger's name when they open the door. I will typically say, hello, how are you? And then the next thing comes with, I confirm the address of where that person is going. That's my confirmation. Now, occasionally I run, and this used to be a Karen thing. I've run into some bougie sisters that like to do this as well. For a long time, this was a Karen thing. Met some, you'll have someone that opens your car door. They're standing in the street with your car door open. They'll lean in and they'll say, who are you here to pick up? And there's been many times that it's actually caught me off guard. And this might be something that does not seem weird to you, but it seems weird to me, because Uber or Lyft has gave you the make and model of my car, my license plate information, my picture. You are not standing here in the middle of the street, randomly opening car doors that stop here and asking, who are you here to pick up? So it's clear to say that when you went to open the car door, you already knew that this was your Uber, right? Why are we going to get into this situation where we want to now play games? And that's what I take it as. You might take it as something different. For a while, I would just say the name and they would hop in. What about, as if my picture, the make and model of my car, my license plate number didn't make you feel secure enough, right? I caught a lady one day. One day I caught somebody pretty nice. I played the game back with them. She go, who are you here to pick up? It was a lady. I forget the lady's name, but I said, I'm here to pick up Ryan. She said, Ryan? But it says that you're my Uber. Are you sure? I said, yeah, it says that I'm here to pick up Ryan. And in the process of this, I'm actually canceling the trip. So it says you canceled it. Well, I don't know what happened. I'm here to pick up Ryan. If you're not Ryan, can you please close my door? She closed the door and left. But again, I don't condone everyone to do this. It's just a thing that I've experienced in doing rideshare that actually irks me. Why couldn't you, and this happens maybe 1 out of 100. It's actually really rare. Most people out there, if they want to do something like that, they'll say, hey, Joseph. I'll say, yeah. They'll get it. And I'll confirm the address with them anyway before, I actually pull off. Another pet peeve of mine is smells. And I had a person leave a comment under one of my videos before where they said, hey, guys get in with marijuana and then they leave the smell after. And smells in general are an issue of mine. My response to his comment is exactly what I'm going to tell you guys in this video. Keep a bottle of Febreze. You can go out, you can get this. I pick this up if I can't find Febreze, but typically I prefer Febreze because of two things. Every single day when I go out, I always would spray a little bit. I am not a fan of the car air fresheners. I'll do the Febreze thing. And that's how I start the day off. Now, going forward into the day, I now still am riding around with that can of Febreze just in case anyone comes with any smells. I honestly think that when it comes to being an Uber or Lyft driver in the rideshare industry, you got to ride around with that because you have someone that complains about a marijuana smell because they might have just bought some marijuana. They have it on them. It's not sealed correctly or whatever. I've had people that just generally stink. I've picked up, true facts, I've picked up people that look perfectly normal. They look clean. They got fresh clothes on, right? But if you were blind, riding in the car, you would have thought two homeless people just got in the car that hasn't bathed in 2 months. And they've been going to the gym every day those 2 months and they still haven't showered. They just smell horrible. Now, that's weird. There was one time where I did have someone put a homeless person in the car for a ride. They were trying to be a good person out here in the world, and the person needed a ride, and they just said, hey, you know what? I will order you an Uber. I wanted to really rip into that person because they did it on their account, but and think about it. It's not until the door closes and I'm like a couple blocks away, I'm like, hold on. What's that smell? So, sorry, phone was ringing. I'm like, what's that smell? Now, on top of this, like that's the most extreme of a person smelling. Anyone that's familiar with White Castle, food industry workers, years ago, I used to work in a prison. I used to be a CO years ago. There would be times where I used to work in the kitchen, and anytime I came home after that long day, I didn't smell myself because my nose was acquainted to it for so long. But my girl at the time would always say, oh, you have to take those clothes off, wash them, get in the shower. Now, if anyone's familiar with White Castle, going back to that, I've picked employees up that worked in White Castles, and it smelled so much like onions. Like if I get you from KFC, guess what? You smell like chicken. If someone was frying chicken in your house before you left your house, I can smell the chicken. So keep a bottle of Febreze. It happens. It is what it is. Trying to think of another scenario where you might definitely need to carry a can of Febreze. Shout out to my Indians. No disrespect. Guyanese, those spices. Sometimes when I get down to Jersey City and the Febreze is needed. I mean, I understand. I've had an Indian neighbor before, and I think months after that neighbor moved out, the hallway, those spices are strong. I mean, I understand. It's just the rest of the world of us need a can of Febreze after. I'm trying to think other issues. Oh, I got a good one for you. Talking on cell phones. Now, I typically play the music low in my car when I'm actually driving, so if someone needs to take a call, it's cool, and I'm perfectly fine with someone speaking on the phone during the ride. But so many times I'll have to think to myself, does this person realize that they have invented headphones? If you have an iPhone, you can go out and you can buy yourself some AirPods, right? So that way, when someone FaceTimes you, I don't have to hear it, right? Even worse, and don't get me wrong, if you don't have headphones and someone FaceTimes you, I understand. But it gets a little bit weirder when you have someone on Instagram scrolling through videos, and it's like, and your volume is fully up. I've had people do it where their volume is low. That's cool. I'm talking about the people that got their volume all the way up to the max, and they want to sit there and flip through these videos. Then you have the people that they just are on a normal call. It's not even a FaceTime call, and they have the speaker option on. So you're listening to someone yell through the phone to them, and then you also have to sit through them yelling back at the phone to the other person. And depending on someone's voice, like I had a girl one day and I hated that she was on this long 30-40 minute ride. Her voice was just so annoying, and it was screechy, and it was I caught a headache on that trip, the way like her voice was hitting my ear, because you also have to realize this person is sitting behind you. At some point, like that's a actual peeve of mine. Now, the next thing, and this is actually going to be the last thing. Everyone, you've probably heard about passenger seat drivers, but we're going to do the backseat driver. You have people that think that they can outsmart the GPS. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, as someone that's been driving for over 5 years, done thousands of trips, out of 10 people that like to test the navigation and the way to get to where they're going, out of 10 people, 2 of them might actually do the trick. Like I actually had a guy yesterday, he beat the GPS by 5 minutes. Most people think that they can beat the GPS only because they go one way all the time to this specific location, and they're just not even open-minded enough to get to the point where it's like, oh, okay, this way might actually be quicker. Or they don't consider the time of day that we're currently in. Like, if you're going somewhere at 5 p.m., you cannot compare that to going there at midnight. I've had riders do that, and they turned a 40-minute ride into an hour and 15 minutes just being a complete dumbass. But you will run into these backseat drivers, you know, and I like to test it. Some people do beat the GPS, so I don't necessarily jump down their throat, you know, right off the beginning. I am going to actually leave this video just a tad bit open like I always do. You guys can feel free to tell some stories, some pet peeves from customers that you don't actually like, just like how I did, and I might make a part 2 to this video because there's some more, but I don't want to make this video too long for you guys. Do me a favor, get down in the comments. Let's actually make this a good one. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. It's a tad bit of a different one. And do me a favor, if this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, do definitely go ahead and get subscribed to the channel. Money Making Joey, I'm out of here, and I will see you guys in the next one.